You guys. Hi, welcome back to Wild Speculations. I'm Daniel.
I'm Scott.
This week we talk about Campaign 2, Episode 54, Well Beneath.
Yeah,
It's a good episode.
good episode. A lot of things, but pretty light on the notes for both of us.
Yeah, and I didn't get a rewatch this week.
But a lot of that was, a lot of it was just compacted.
Yeah. And we had a couple weeks where the episodes have gotten longish. The last two have been only like three and a half, less than four.
But they've also been all over the place with character development and story
It's true.
development. This one was more concise.
Yeah.
It seemed more focused.
Yeah, I think that's true. And maybe that's the effect that the Kickstarter had.
Maybe.
When you've got multi-millions of dollars coming down.
Yeah,
I think
because
it
they're
tends to
over
focus
7
you.
now.
So.
Yeah. So we spoke while we were eating. We agreed on the MVP.
Yeah, Marisha. Head and shoulders above. By the way, quick note. Neighbors are doing stuff. I'm going to try to ignore it if you can. But anyway, yes. Marisha, the whole episode. Some episodes we have a close contention, and this one I don't think it was a contest at all.
No. She really, and they all, I love all of their role playing, but she was really putting herself into it more than normal this time.
Yeah, well, and like for me also, the MVP has to be the player who's moving the story along the most.
Yeah.
And I think she was the most in that category. Travis, a close second.
Yeah.
But yeah, for sure, it was Marisha. And right off the bat for me, we have her abandonment issues with Dyron.
Even before that, right before the abandonment issues, because first we have a game of telephone with this message. But one thing I want to point out is in episode 53 at the end, and this is probably got to do more with the Kickstarter and just, missing a beat here and there. Matt describes Dyron as being completely bald. And now when they get there, she's got short, stubble hair. Like, how long did they have to wait to go back and get those people for her hair to start growing out? That was my first thought. I was like, wait a minute. Last week you said she was bald. Now she's got some hair. And I think that was just a miss,
Yeah.
You can be described as bald and still have that thin,
Yeah, I think
cut.
I think in his notes, it's probably written shaved.
Yeah. And that's what I assumed too, but I thought it was funny because he specifically said bald in episode 53 and then described the stubble. I was like, how long did it take to get them? How confused were they?
Yeah, that is funny.
That made me laugh in my first watch.
And yeah, Laura hit the nail on the head and she's like, everyone has had this conversation. Yes. Everyone's had this text conversation.
This has been everyone's text thread.
Yep. Especially when you don't plan things out ahead.
Yeah.
So now we see them using the buddy system more.
Mm-hmm.
They don't just go off one at a time. And now we have a fallback emergency meeting position.
Yeah.
So
a couple of things as they're talking with Dyron this first time. You brought up Bo's abandonment. in their private talk. Trust issues seem to be a thing with the Cobalt Soul.
Yeah.
Dyron makes it obvious. It's made obvious that she's talking to Bo. She doesn't trust these other people. The interesting thing that I found was in that private talk. Dyron was like, "Do you trust them?" She's all, "Kinda."
I love Laura's reaction.
So there was that. I love Marisha's body language. She kind of shrunk herself down, because there's someone she looks up to. There's someone who's an authority figure to her.
Well, and I think that goes back to like not just an authority figure, but a parental figure.
Yeah.
Which brings up a whole other sort of Freudian psychological deconstruction that one could do.
Especially when you consider the message was about a booty call that she had Jester send.
Yeah. Which could have been a lie.
Which could have been a lie.
Because we know Bo's a liar.
Yeah.
And she's trying to break herself up.
So Dyron's response didn't seem to be opposed to it. And then it was just not brought up.
Yeah. Well, and so this episode, we also see Matt. Remember when we last week we talked about how the saddest moment of the episode was Yez's reply, "Are you still coming?" This episode, we saw Matt confirm some of the thought process that someone who's receiving a sending who doesn't know the sender, what they're going to be thinking.
Yeah.
Where he's like, "You're the one that sent me." And so we have had it from Dyron's mouth that she lied to Bo so that Bo would not follow her.
Correct.
I think that's a half-truth.
I agree.
And I think the biggest part of that lie was because it was Jester who was sending, and she doesn't know who Jester is.
Okay. I can see that. The other part is from their previous experiences together, she has no reason to think that Bo would follow her.
Yeah. Yeah. I would argue that in the initial conversation when she told Bo that she was heading to Blade Garden, that there was almost an implicit invitation to follow.
Yeah.
So
definitely. But so she says kinda, right? However, when they freed Ford and Jester and Yasha from Lorenzo, she tells them, "I would lay my life down for you guys." And on the Squall Eater, she tells Jester she loves her. So she's reverting back to that lie because she, is supposed to be careful of who she trusts. And
so you think she was lying to Dyron for approval?
Yeah.
Interesting.
The other thing is, I don't know that she entirely trusts Dyron. Otherwise, why wouldn't she have told her about the beacon? And when when the Dunamancy was brought up by Jester, Marisha was like, her face was like, "Yeah, no, we're not talking about that. We're not sharing information."
But yeah.
Now, I don't know if she doesn't trust Dyron and that she thinks something shady, or she's like, "You just fucking lied to me."
No. I'm going to say that it's more the fact that the last time they met with somebody who knew things that they didn't and was powerful, they got one of the toys taken away.
Okay.
And I think it was more, Bo didn't want to expose her to that in case she wanted to take it from them.
Okay, interesting.
And also, I think it probably occurred to Marisha, since Dyron or at that point had basically put the distance between them and had said, "I didn't tell you because I didn't want you to follow me." I think that probably triggered something in her to say, then I'm not going to tell you what we're really doing here either.
Right. Yeah, that you just fucking lied to me.
Yeah. So, and she had not talked with the Mighty Nine about revealing, like, they don't have a protocol on revealing the existence of the dodecahedron in their possession. And arguably, from a political standpoint, it is more dangerous than the Happy Fun Time Ball.
Yeah. Their policy seems to be, if one of us feels like blurting it out, we'll tell them.
Fair. But maybe they'll get something a little more detailed.
Yeah.
We'll see. I don't know. And it might come up after they confirm that Dyron has left, that they're like, well, why? They might ask Marisha, why didn't you tell Dyron about this?
Yeah, they may.
And that may come up on Talks tonight.
And the other thing that we learned was Dyron believes the Severus Assembly is working with the Kree.
Yes, that was a huge WTF moment.
I don't think it's true. I think Dyron is barking up the wrong tree.
I think it's absolutely true.
I think that they both have dunamancy in common, but the Severus Assembly is the one that's got the beacons and not giving them back. If they were going to work together, there would have to be some kind of trade negotiation.
Here's the counterpoint to that.
Okay.
They have known exactly where the beacons are twice. Despite the one in Allfield being kept in a metal case.
Right.
So locate object would not have been able to locate it. And they dug an awful long way.
Correct, but they've also stopped using it as much because of what's-his-faces, the wizards, that using it, that they had the whole theory that when you use it, they know where someone can pick up that we're using it. That could be how they tracked it to those places. And if they've tracked it to those places, they know the Severus Assembly has them.
I don't know. I think it's a little too convenient for them to know exactly where it is.
That's true.
I don't know.
If they knew exactly where it was in Allfield and not just it's in Allfield, why didn't they have a scene where they had to get it from someone fleeing with it? It was just packed away in a box.
Yeah, they knew where to go. Yez's was the last place they hit. And the other places, the description that we got of that attack, those were things to throw people off. That's why they were there. But they went there specifically. They got him. They got the dodecahedron, and they left.
But they didn't get the dodecahedron.
They
did.
Yeah.
Yes, but they left the tripod.
Right.
And the liquid dunamis.
Right, because they don't know what that is. The tripod was holding.
You don't think that their magic users who used dunamancy wouldn't have recognized the distilled?
No. I don't think they had any magic users with them in that field. Because we didn't hear of any magical attacks. It was soldiers and the beasts.
I don't know. If I was going after that, I would have sent someone who had at least some magical.
Yeah, you might send them along, but they're not necessarily going in with the troops to bust the door down.
Okay.
They're probably staying with the worm. And because your magic user can hold your escape route with those worms while the soldiers go in and get your shit. They get it, they bring it back, and they say, "Yep, that's it. Let's go."
Yeah, that's true.
So yeah, I don't think it's Trent or any of the top named people.
Okay, so you think someone in the Severus? Okay, that I will buy 100%.
Yeah.
But for the Severus Academy itself to be co-aligned as an organization, no, not at all.
Yeah, I think in that instance, I think Dyron's pushing a little too far.
Yeah.
And that it's just her prejudices, which comes up again from Bo, which I think maybe I don't know if I want to open that can of worms right now, but we'll get back to that.
Okay.
But yeah, we have. Yeah, I think we'll just stick with both because I was thinking, do you want to go chronologically through the episode? But I don't think it makes sense to do that necessarily. The Cobalt Soul revisions that we get later.
Yes. Which is exactly what we were talking about last week.
Yeah.
Because you thought Dyron was a drunken master, because at 6th level they get the retaliation. And I said, no, Cobalt Soul gets it 2. We looked it up. They get it 11th. But they flipped that, so they got it in 6th. So Bo can now do that. And when she hits 11th level, she'll be able to spend a key point, but only once per turn. So she won't be able to get infinite, or key point finite reactions.
Yeah. Which I think was the right move,
I think so too. And I like that it lines up that ability, because the Drunken Master gets that and other things, like the being able to stand up with only 5 feet of movement and stuff at 6th level. And for them to get the Cobalt Soul just to get the counterpart of it as their 11th level ability, when another subclass gets that and something else at the 6th level.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that they flipped that. Lines it up better with the other subclasses.
Yeah. And the first edit that he did, which was taking the saving throw out, I thought was also good. Yeah. So I think Matt's getting much better. The class is getting much better. But the reason, one of the reasons I wanted to talk about that is because it gives the watcher information on the subclass without having to go look it up on the DM's Guild or whatever. Through narrative, he is expressing the abilities of the class.
Yeah.
And when he has to make a change, he does it. He's done it narratively, which I think is interesting, both for the player, because it sort of helps with the immersion.
Yeah.
In the sense that you have to learn these things. And part of me wonders if some of that wasn't influenced by TJ. Because I watched I think it was a D&D Beyond video where they were talking to him, and he's talking about how in his games you don't level up. Even if you have the XP, you don't level up until you can train.
Yeah, that was the D&D Beyond interview.
Yeah. No, we don't have that in Matt's game, but I think some of that may have influenced.
Yeah, and this campaign has been a lot bigger on the narrative training, not just with Marisha, but Caleb in his actively researching the spells and writing them in.
That's a player thing.
That is. But I'm saying as a whole, it's been that, training and the expanding of power.
Yeah.
Even the, and it's still a player thing, the not learning her magic as the arcane trickster from Caleb.
Yeah. Which we haven't seen a narrated scene of that yet.
No. We've just had reference to, I learned it from him.
Yeah.
I learned it from watching you, okay? Oh, 80s drug commercial references.
Yeah. But we also have the age-old question of rests.
Yes. Too short, so long.
Yeah.
So, I think I know where you're going.
Yeah.
With the exhaustion.
No.
No? Okay.
My thing, when I was watching the episode live, was, in a technical sense...
Oh, the within 24 hours.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't think it breaks anything that they did that.
Yeah.
Because all you're doing, basically, is you're going to bed earlier so you can get up earlier.
Right.
And they were leaving at 3 o'clock in the morning. So it's not a big deal. And also the other thing is, in some ways, Matt cheated them out of time during the day. because when they went to go, like, it went from, oh, you just woke up at dawn outside the city walls, to it's 2 p.m. now.
Yeah.
I did love the searching for food. Like, we got to get something in our stomachs, and yeah. But that was last episode.
Yeah,
it was fun. But I don't think I mentioned it in last week's episode. But I loved it when Caduceus is like, "You didn't eat, you're gonna get your ass kicked." Yeah. But yeah. Interesting tidbit that they fed his body, the murderer that they've been hearing about, and they went to his house. They fed him to the pigs, which I kept thinking of Snatch.
Okay,
feed him to feed him to the pigs, Harold. But yeah, and we had the funny moment where they're like, "We'll just look, and then we'll come back tomorrow." I was like, "Do we ever do that?" It's like, nope. No player group does.
And then Ford starts climbing down. We said we were gonna. Nope. This is what we do.
Yeah, and as Matt was narrating, well, we have the investigation. Ford speaks to the bugbear, and which was an interesting scene.
Yeah. Okay. So, a couple interesting things about Ford for that. One, he's stepping into the leader in that moment, which he doesn't always do. In fact, he usually tries to lead from the back by manipulating the other people to go up and do things. But this time, he took the foreground.
And I think that had to do with the orcs that they ran into on the way.
Yeah, I think that had something to do with it. I think that brought back some childhood stuff, him getting bullied and stuff.
Well, and it's the first time that Matt has narratively put the focus on Ford's monstrous nature, his monstrous background, while they've been here. Yes, the bugbear that they rescued, Agluza, said that Ford would probably be fine, but we haven't had anyone really interact with Ford on that level until those orcs.
And let's step back to those. How smart and or stupid was it of Caleb to hit a large person right then and there? I mean, it paid off. It ended up working.
Yeah.
But it could have gone very bad very quickly. Because I could be wrong, but I don't think enlarge gives you any temporary hit points.
No. And it also doesn't make you stronger.
And it also doesn't increase your AC.
No. The only thing he would have had is his carrying capacity, lifting capacity would increase. So he definitely could have picked those guys up.
Yeah.
And Matt probably would have ruled, yeah, if you can pick it up, you can throw it.
Right.
So, and that's why Caleb was like, I couldn't have picked those guys up. And then later he's like, no, I definitely could have.
Yeah. But I love Bo's response. Just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Yeah. Which is actually interesting coming from her.
Very interesting coming from her.
I can't say it was the wrong thing for him to have done.
Because it worked out.
Well, even if it hadn't worked out, I mean, yeah. I think from Caleb's point of view, it was intimidation is going to be the only way to get out of this without killing some folks. And I'd rather not go through a bloodbath here in the streets.
Yeah.
We're down half the party. We don't have any of the healers with us.
Fair.
And Travis just wasn't fast enough on getting to the intimidation part of the encounter. And that's why Liam did that.
Okay.
I think he was taking that decision out of Ford's hands. And Travis picked up and now you made him do his thing.
Yeah.
Did they get noticed? Yes. Will it matter? Probably not.
Probably not.
Because even if they, and I'm actually surprised they didn't do this, especially when they were dealing with the guard at the well. They are technically working for, what's her face?
Yeah, they didn't pull the government employee card.
So even if, like, so they could have done that in that case if someone of authority had come along and saw Caleb doing all this spell casting.
Yeah.
And actually, this might work for Dyron. If word gets around that there's a human wizard in town,
okay,
somebody who's in on if there is a conspiracy, someone in on that conspiracy might come knocking at Caleb to test his loyalty to the Empire and the Cerberus Assembly and how much he has to do there. And we might actually see how that conspiracy happens and try to fold Caleb in. And does he then, at that point, go in on it?
Yeah. Could be.
So, but we had the reveal of what's causing the dreams. And I was so angry at myself when Matt was narrating that scene. Because I, too, have used succubi.
Yes, you have.
I, too, have used their dream infiltration ability.
Mm-hmm.
And it did not once occur to me that could be what's causing these dreams. It seemed a little too widespread in Matt's description for me to pin it on that. Like, if it was just one or two people having dreams,
right,
then maybe.
Yeah. I don't know. I kind of thought it might be that when you talked about the female and the male bugbear.
Oh no! As soon as this episode was going and they were on the investigation and interrogating the bugbear, no, it clicked right away. Yeah, and I was like, son of a, even before they changed shape.
Yeah, no, when he was talking about the dreams and the two coming. Yeah, initially when Ford, and interesting thing because and
the dreamer investigates dreams.
Well, no, there's that too. I didn't even put that together. Caduceus is our dream whisperer.
That's true.
Having been bullied as a kid, and then just being in an interaction like that, he turns and bullies this guy who is arguably mentally deficient.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just one of those cases where the picked on gets just enough power to become the thing, that he sees as evil.
Yeah. Much of Ford's story has been about becoming what you behold. To the point that you have been arguing that he's not lawful good, he's lawful evil. So, yeah.
Okay, what good aligned person picks on the mentally deficient and bullies them?
Yeah.
See, I was expecting you to say Ford. Because you're still on the Ford is good train. I think at best he's neutral.
I'm taking Travis at his word that I think he wrote down lawful good on his character sheet. And Matt just hasn't taken it upon himself to change Ford's alignment as he did with Pike and Ashley.
I'm saying that.
But Ford has yet to kill someone in cold blood when they're unconscious or helpless, like she did.
This is true.
So if he does that, we'll see.
I will go back to the initial point where I said he was evil, and I don't care what you guys do to him. I'm just going to walk away. That is not something a lawful good person would do. A lawful good person would say, no, we're not doing this.
Yeah.
Which is why I say he's neutral at best.
Yeah. Speaking of neutrality, it's a stretch, but stay with me. Liam's headspace of not being good at accents. Or he is good at accents, but he is playing someone who is not.
Yes.
And him trying to
Eldritch Blast.
That I think that was probably the biggest laugh line of the episode.
Yeah.
For me. Was that bit there. And there, Jester is closer to him. Now, Matt didn't make the roll for Dyron when Caleb said,
this is the front.
Yeah. But I could tell by his facial expressions, and I think Matt just sort of did the math and was like, yeah, no, she's gonna passively his check would be this, passively her check is this. She knows who's lying.
Yeah. The other thing, yes, there was that. The other thing about Caleb was the confusion as to which pin to go into. They didn't, it's because they didn't get 3. He even says, we always get 3. What do we do? Because not is his security blanket.
Yeah.
And he's like, do I go there where I'm supposed to go? Do I go to not where I'm comfortable? What do I do?
I hadn't thought about it in the sense that he was after his security blanket. I thought that was almost more of an expression of obsessive compulsive behavior.
Okay, I can see that too.
Caleb hasn't shown a large amount of that, in the sense that he's not Tony Shalhoub and Monk.
Right.
But a wizard who uses a component pouch, there is a element of obsessive compulsion.
Yeah.
About where you put everything.
Yeah, definitely.
And we have had him narrate where he is digging in the bag or has the component in his hand and is fiddling with it.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I sort of interpret that as more obsessive compulsive.
Okay.
Where he's used to a certain thing and
it gets changed up on him. Yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing in that scene, off topic, we see Jester offhandedly dismiss Ford and no one really cares, and and Travis's look and that whole game they've been playing, and I don't know. You think Ford's going to talk to her about any misunderstandings, misgivings in the near future?
I don't know.
Because I think Ford is starting to get the feeling that he screwed up somewhere because she's, much more dismissive, much more passive aggressive towards him.
So here's the thing. I think Laura is replaying through in some manner the way that she and he got together.
Okay.
Because they both have told the story of sort of the games that they were playing, the calling or not calling, the waiting to call.
Mm-hmm.
treating him like he did something wrong, or making him think what he did wrong was worse than it was, just so that he would do something to apologize. So I think we are seeing her play that out in Jester and Ford, especially because the whole reason why this whole thing started was because Travis said, "I'm never having an in-game romance."
Right.
And she's like, "Yes, you are." So
and not only has he now had, but he's had flings and
yeah, and even going so far. Well, at least he didn't try to really hit on Dyron as the Dark Elf.
Yeah.
Because for half a second, I thought that's where he might be going.
Yeah, me too.
But yeah, it's that's where I think she is going with this. She came on really strong. I want, I'm all about you, kind of thing. And he did some shit that would definitely cool a person off. But then he's also like he gave her his breath in the temple.
Yeah.
As well. So there's been equal things where she is probably right that Ford's not who she needs to be with. But then there's other things. So,
but we have the prophecy.
Yeah. And like Oogway says in Kung Fu Panda, we often find our destiny on the road we take to avoid it. So it could be that, she came into this thinking that was going to be the thing, and now she's playing like it's not going to happen. But I think Laura is playing a long game here.
Yeah.
On Travis and us.
Okay.
And I think it's going to be... That's bold words, but I'll say them anyway. It's probably going to be as great as when Sam commissioned the witch hat.
That is bold words.
And only because it's going to take so much longer than that to pay off.
Yeah.
But I do think Laura has... I think she has her beats set in her mind.
Okay.
And based upon the things that happen in game, she's ticking things off, and she's got her own little counter going. And because even now, even though she's sort of cooled on Ford, every now and then he'll do something.
Oh yeah.
And she'll reciprocate a little bit. She'll bring a little bit more of that back.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course he does something and she cuts it off again.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Laura knows exactly what she's doing. And I would even dare say that she listens to Travis complain about it. And she's like, I don't know what you're talking about. Or she'll say, okay, fine.
Okay.
And then she'll wait for him to do something, and then she jumps on it, and then he's like, oh shit, she's taking it that way. I think that's what's going on.
Okay.
And I think Laura's doing it on purpose.
I can see that. I like that. I approve.
The big question is what's going to happen when Ashley comes back to the table between her and Bo, Yasha and Bo. And whether or not Bo is going to learn the same story that Caleb or that Caduceus and Jester.
Yeah.
Because we haven't had it stated
that the rest of the party was told.
Yeah. And I think Marisha also realized that like 2 weeks after.
Mm-hmm.
Because when that scene was going on, her reaction was great. But she treated Yasha a little differently. I think Marisha's like, I don't actually know that. So she had to sort of get it out of her head, and that's why
Yeah.
a few episodes after that, and people got mad at Travis for flirting with her as Yasha. But I think that exchange also sort of helped flip the switch that Bo doesn't know that.
Yeah, but it does not know that.
So, yeah. So yeah, the succubus really sort of got me. I'm still sticking to the fact that we are going to see more demons down there. I think the succubi are the appetizer.
Okay.
And succubi are the perfect enemy for that. Especially at the level that they are. Early on, you can get away with quaists, imps,
right,
and that kind of thing. But deviling,
those are your real early game.
Yeah. But in the mid tier where they're at, a little earlier, the succubus can be sort of the mini boss, or maybe even the boss, depending on how early you introduce him. But at their level, a pair or 4, 2 pair, can really wreck the party.
Yeah. Especially if they get off one of their charms.
Yeah. And
know firsthand how that can screw party's plan.
Yes.
You made me drug the barbarian, Dan.
Yeah, that's good. And then the next time, the barbarian got whammied. And the barbarian's usually the first target because often the barbarian doesn't have the wisdom.
Yeah, well, my character didn't either.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, question.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and this is what was, and I get our theory that there's more demons down there, but I don't think the group, the Mighty Nine, have that theory necessarily. So, and I'm trying to think in their mindset, you know. They get there, there's the lights, there's the evil presences. And I'm thinking in my head, especially like, and this is a tactical fault in my playing style, I know, but it's because it's led to the death of some of my characters, and you know this.
Okay.
But why didn't, like, my thought, if I was in that scene, was the bulk of the group go in and keep them busy. Jester, the one who sealed the rift, and maybe like not, go down the well while the people who they think are from the well are being kept busy, and seal it. That way they're not having to fight them there.
The better question is, why did they play who's not going in the room?
That's true.
Because if they would have gone in there, yeah, they probably would have gotten an opportunity attack too. But, like, I mean, they didn't know it. Hard to say if they knew or not, if it was succubus and incubi.
I don't think they did.
So,
but I don't think they were. I think they were expecting that to be it going around. I don't think they're expecting more down there.
This leads to a potential debate here. Was Taliesin metagaming when he cast Protection from Good and Evil? Or was it that, or was it heroism? Shit, I can't remember.
I don't remember casting Protection.
I can't remember what spell, but he cast it on basically everyone except not to give them advantage. I think it was heroism. Advantage on saving throws and the temporary hit points. And Matt was even like, that's borderline metagaming.
Yeah.
And Taliesin was like, no, we go on. It's like, it could be ghosts. We know it's evil. which is, I think, the only reason why Yasha succeeded on the save. Which again, this campaign, Matt has been bedeviled by his players' buff and debuff, and control abilities. Bo's stun and Caduceus' bane, and now heroism.
Yeah.
But I don't think that was metagaming. Like, if you live in these worlds, okay, if you live in a world where there are incubus and succubus, devils and demons are real, they come to Earth. Like, there are legends about these things. There are folk tales.
Yeah.
And Liam has said as much when they were interacting with the kobolds. You know, my grandmother told me stories like this.
Yes.
It's the old man stories.
Yeah.
Like, you know, these things are vulnerable or have powers that do X, Y, and Z. If you have the ability to protect yourself and your party from that, it's not metagaming to cast that.
Yeah. I'm kind of on the fence, because part of it is that stuff your character would know versus what you wouldn't know is where the metagaming comes in. And on one argument, you've got Caduceus having been the caretaker of a cemetery. He probably knows a bit about that kind of stuff. And he's got the wisdom to support that. On the other hand, he doesn't have the intelligence to support it. Because, I mean, this is the guy that notices everything yet is, in theory, 2 steps behind.
Yeah.
And the evidence for that is going back to the beginning of the episode, 3/4 of the way through the group talk. Oh, hey, you're the one sending the birds, right? I figured it out, guys.
Yeah. And in large part, that comes back to Taliesin really starting. He has slowly grown into those attributes.
Yes.
Because the way he plays Caduceus now is way different than the way he played him in the beginning. I mean, the kernel was there. The grain that he's full of the pearl around was there. But I don't think he had really solidified in his... Like, I think he said this on Talks, where he had to have a conversation with Matt about what high wisdom, low intelligence means.
Right. Well, both of them have talked about it.
Yeah.
And, you know, how Matt was like, oh, you're going to have fun with this because you're, you know, you played a high intelligence, low wisdom guy, and then you played a, you know, kind of average-ish guy, not really great at anything, you know, and now you've got the charisma and the wisdom, but your intelligence is crap, you know. And Taliesin is, like, very intelligent, you know.
Yeah.
He's researched a lot of things.
Yeah.
From what I can tell. So having to rein that back in, you know.
I also enjoyed when he was searching for the word and used, and then For's like, what did he say? See, this is what happens when I don't get to read much. Because I'll write the actual quote in my notes. But yeah, he supplied him with the word, and so I think getting back to the player, how you were saying, being in the player's mindset. Do you think the way that they are treating the Crane and Jorhas is a function of their own modern California sensibilities creeping in?
Some of them, not all of them. I think Jester is legitimately in player, and probably Ford as well. Being from the Menagerie Coast, where it's kind of eclectic, they've got everything there. So, I mean, the Menagerie Coast is kind of the California, as far as that kind of mindset goes. The Empire kids, probably a bit.
Okay.
Caleb's can be justified as his hatred of the Cerberus Academy or Assembly. It's almost, to him at least, it's representative of the Empire. So he's
Caleb was is still Empire first.
Yeah.
But I thought the argument that she had with Dyron was indicative of where the players are coming from, and it is indicative of a growing trend in the hobby of your orcs don't have to be evil.
Yeah.
Or, the goblins don't have to be evil. All the sentient monster races, traditionally evil races, don't have to be. And the desire to play against type, 1. 2, expanding your palette for story opportunities. But I'm wondering because Matt's portrayal of Dyron in that scene made me wonder if he is going to be sticking more with the traditional cosmic good, cosmic evil.
Yeah.
Based on last campaign, I think that's where Matt stands. I think he allows for the outlier,
right,
in these sentient races, because anything's possible. But
and I mean, for me, that's kind of where I've been at since the 80s, since I started in role playing and stuff, or at least since I started DMing, in the late 80s. And that's that, okay, this race is listed as chaotic evil in the monster manual. So, that's their default society, but that doesn't mean every single one of them is chaotic evil.
Yeah.
There's going to be some of every alignment, especially if they're a sentient race. And I've loved doing that since, I've been a DM, having the red dragon that's actually good, or the metallic dragon that's actually evil and, subverting the characters.
Yeah.
And it's something I've always liked to play with. That just because it's typically this doesn't mean it's always this.
Yeah.
That was one of the things I loved about Eberron when it first came out, was that they were like, yeah, dragons, no matter what the color, can be any alignment.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's what I've been saying for years now.
Yeah. And that's a big thing in Ravnica, is that just because you're talking with a vampire doesn't mean...
Right. And Ravnica is based on magic, which is an entirely...
different...
as far as good and evil cosmologically, that whole dynamic is different with Magic the Gathering.
Yeah. I look forward to Matt giving them the not just story, but the example, the show don't tell, of somebody choosing evil. Out here, because we don't have that yet, I don't think.
Yeah. That is the one thing that has bothered me about the City of Beasts, is it seems, because while I'm a big fan of, just because this is the base doesn't mean they're all like this, I still do believe it's the base, meaning that the majority and the society as a whole should be of this mindset.
Yeah.
And this is just it's almost like being, back in Amon.
Yeah.
But just different races.
Yeah. He's gotten a little bit of the flavor in there. And I think on some level, there is definitely the argument to be had that if you're going to live in a society, you have to be civil.
Right.
But
lawful evil is a valid society.
Yes.
And especially if the Drow are in control, that's their default alignment.
Yeah. But I think what we're seeing in the City of Beasts is essentially all of the outliers of those different disparate societies have come together to live here
Okay.
because
Okay.
that is that's where they are safe and where they can deal with one another.
The
on that
Outliers
level.
have banded together, safety in numbers, kind of thing.
Yes.
Okay, I can see that.
This is the community that they have.
Okay, yeah, that I can totally buy that. I'm totally okay with that.
So maybe on the trip to Gordranis, we will see raiding parties of these various peoples, bedevil them on their trip, where they don't recognize the authority of the Drow.
Right.
And by all accounts that we've heard from Matt, there aren't that many Drow.
Right.
So it could just be, maybe there are only 6 cities in Jorhas that the Drow exert any sort of control over.
Yeah.
And they patrol the roads, and they keep the network between those 6 cities somewhat safe. But outside of that, you are at your own risk, and are likely to be preyed upon. But yeah, I don't, and that's sort of the conundrum that I'm having with the City of Beasts also. And it isn't helping his case, if there is even a case to be made. His NPCs have certainly attempted to make the case that the Jorhasians, the Crick, are this evil empire and they are going to do all these bad things.
Yeah.
The morally great aspect of the Dwendalian Empire was great, and it wasn't so cut and dry good government in Tal'Dorei that we had in the first campaign.
Right.
The world and the players both are playing more gray in this campaign. But I wonder, it will be interesting to see how that unfolds going forward. Whether or not Matt sticks with the idea that we basically have been under the assumption that he has been going with, which is, the Kingfisher idea. That if the king is bad, the land will suffer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, for me, just like an evil society would have, not that the things here can't be but just like, I see them as would be stricter laws, stricter punishments, probably more, more distrust, more looking into law enforcement harassing refugees, newcomer types, than we've seen.
Yeah, I think,
I think that's the part that's it seems too lax in that sense.
I think what the Drow probably have set upon in their method of ruling Jorhas is a secret police model.
Okay.
They have adopted the Dai model, where you're in the shadows and you're watching everybody, and when you find somebody that's a problem, you take them out. And you do it quietly.
Okay.
As often as possible. Rather than the soldier on every corner.
Right.
Where you just have a huge military presence everywhere. I don't think their economy could support it, doing it that way. And it's interesting, like, the other aspect of this has been very Soviet bloc, 1980s sort of things, where people aren't trading in currency.
Yeah.
It's barter and favor for favor kind of thing. So,
all right.
Yeah.
Real quick, we're running out of time. What are your predictions for next episode?
I think the succubi are an appetizer. I think something much bigger is guarding the rift.
Okay.
If Matt wants to button this up quickly. If he doesn't want to button it up quickly, there will be evidence that this is one of many others.
Right.
But if this is the main one and he wants to button it up, we'll get the big demon fight, and they will be on the receiving end of the Bakura.
All right. I think that's a good estimation. Yeah, I think that's about all the time we got. So
yep.
We're going to head over, watch Trav Submerge on Talks. Bye, guys.
See you guys.